I have to really think about something. Shoe on Head made this video on male loneliness, and this was like something I had known about, because I stay very hip to the MGTOW thing. Now, there's something actually I think that I never really admitted about why. I remembered when the Mossad started doing workups on terrorists. They started getting into who are these guys. They're actually educated people, highly educated, with lots of investment in their youth. Good parentage, loving families. They had everything to live for. But to be educated was key. It takes education to make someone that crazy. You had to slowly get their mind to focus on how there should be an ideal. Not like the working Joe, while he isn't Pareto's distribution. He is not Hercules. He's not going to fight the gods. He will not fight the gods, even for the woman he's crazy for. For the gods might strike back and take her. This is so deeply written into us. It still to this day applies. That, even think about the people who are these guys who are Pareto's distribution, that are quite public about it. That they talk, that the godly men talk of these highly achieving men as prideful, as like, you can't, that Andrew Tate fellow, that the right wing doesn't actually like him very much because he's not humble before God in their eyes. So you get these men who are actually going to be these kind of fascinating, very few, fascinating, like super achiever types. And then you get a lot of men that just really want things to be pretty stable. They just want a normal life. They're not looking for an abnormally strange life. They're not looking to be a superhero. In the Northwest, there's always somebody blowing leaves like all morning long. It's kind of amazing. It's sort of like one of the Simpsons characters is Leaf Blower Man in the Northwest. It's like all completely covered head to foot, blowing leaves all morning long, all over town, until it rains, and then you just leave them to rot right off the side of in the gutter of the street, so it fills wheel wells. Gets all over the bikes. There's like this 2 days of the year where they shovel them all up, and anyone who lives here, who like comes here from another place, are like, what the fuck is the deal with this place? And the fucking leaves on the sides of the road. But okay, so this thing about the loneliness thing, I'm digressing. So I've been paying attention to this because of this, because I didn't know. I was like, well, I don't really know what's going on with guys who are younger than me. I don't know what's up, anymore in the scene, So I was starting to like, okay, well, the extreme of it would be if you're starting to see these various signs of the educated young men starting to have nothing to kind of live for. Now, what's very interesting is one side of educated young men found their cause, and their cause does fit most of the parameters of a mass movement, as the philosopher Eric Hoffer was discussing, that at this time the progressive Democrats are a mass movement. They according to the way Eric Hoffer would talk about it, that they are now they're in their dynamic phase, and so hence them using lawfare and violence and recruiting young men to actually get involved violently, which was the Trump rally in Chicago, documented by Vice magazine, where they knew ahead of time, and that the whole thing was put together by members of the SCIU and various professors at University of Illinois, Chicago, and that it was they ginned it all up. They got specific youth groups to show up at the rally, and that's why then the security shut down that rally, is because there was some type of organized effort going on in the crowd. Vice has all of it. Vice had a whole thing on this. It was this guy's first protest. Was that he was really excited about it, and so in looking for these signs of kind of like proto-white jihad, it was that I started to find, like, with sort of these guys who were on the right of center, this wasn't developing. This wasn't like the 80s with actual neo-Nazi movements. It wasn't happening. These guys weren't meeting together. They didn't agree on a lot of their ideas. They weren't. A lot of them really did not identify as much as white as sort of American and Christian. They just simply would really have they were really having a hard time being like, this is the white thing, like. But also they didn't, because they knew enough about 90s humor. A lot of people on the right this was totally misunderstood by the millennial right-wing white guys. A lot of them, especially the people on like YouTube and stuff, these were people that were more than familiar with Homie the Clown. They were familiar with the Wayans brothers. These were people who were very familiar with, like, a lot of rap music. These just weren't weird guys. I mean, like, the only thing that really someone might think might be weird is that they tended to be not athletic and very into kind of nerd stuff. That's the only thing that maybe could be considered weird about them or would stick out. There was nothing more than that. And even a lot of these guys were even, like, on the scene trying to date. Like, and they were starting to experience, no, most women are liberal. So people were missing what was really going on. They thought the right was something. They're saying that nobody wants to even talk about the men on the left, like as if they don't exist really. They're just guys who haven't put a dress on yet and started taking estro or something. I don't know. There's like tatted up thug bro, tatted up skate bro, and then guy with dress, like that, and that's the men of the left. And then some older dudes who, like maybe are funding it all, or something, but yeah, there's not really much talk of that part of it. I like that's something actually that really is kind of. I basically think the Democrats are missing a big opportunity in that regard, but I'm not going to put it out there because I don't want them to win. So, the thing about like these guys being lonely on the right was that they weren't really showing any of the signs of becoming very extreme. This would be very rare. A lot of these kind of wacky groups that popped up, like these guys, Patriot Front and Atomwaffen, these guys, they everything about them seems really odd. They don't seem very genuine. Nobody knows who they are. Like, nobody's ever met any of these people in real life. Nobody's ever in any way encountered them on the internet, like come to our Discord or anything like that. So you're kind of like, well, how do you guys all know? How do you guys know each other? You know, it gets real. It's real sus and glowy, and so it's yeah. And so this worry that there's these lonely men on the right that are going to do something terrible is just that there's not something there. No, they're more likely to probably hurt themselves. And just stay alone. Now, also, there's this. Traditional culture and the preservation of traditional culture, that would be conservatism. Well, men being alone, in every traditional culture, there's a thing for that. There isn't in modern culture. The modern culture has the sexual revolution, the suburbs, and marriage as we know it. That's modernism. Traditional culture has monasticism. It has the idea of a man who just doesn't really involve himself with the world. So that's the other downfall of kind of this argument that there's you can fit in on the right and be a lonely man. That's respected on the right. Like this idea of, no, I spend most of my time by myself or alone. The right side of culture is like, well, that's not really abnormal. You know, like if you go, oh, I read books a lot. You know, and you could name about 20 different great minds who these were lonely men who read books. So that's one of the things about the right that they got on this. This is why I don't think the left is talking about their lonely men. Because so many of the men on the left tend to be like, I mean, they have some to the fucking curb. And so their loneliness is not discussed. And note, when Shu did her video, who was laughing? The left laughed at all men. Holy crap! You gotta see this. You gotta see this. Let's see if I get. Oh, look at that! Holy shit! Damn! Oh my God! You don't see those anymore. That was wonderful. And the best part about it is, as it was going by, one of the local restaurants is cooking bacon. So the best part about it is you see this giant Impala pass by and the delicious smell of morning bacon. I love it. Oh, that's great. So the thing that I was thinking about is, so the left won't discuss their lonely fellows at all. And also, I mean, because you see, modernism posits, because of the sexual revolution, hey, we're sexy people having sex. That's the right does not posit this. The right does not offer that as why you should join the club. So there's some of these. This is why I don't like this. These two sides of politics reflect one another when they don't. When they're two unique, different things. So the laughter and the ha ha ha, look at these lonely, ugly, this, that, and the other, that was the big one, is how much it was ha ha ha, you're lonely, you don't have women in your lives, why don't you have sex with men, things, all these things that, one of the things that, you would figure that there would be kind of an age demographic. I mean, could it be that these are not just lonely young men, but these are also lonely older men? You know, that these are guys that, that when they looked at this, these were men who spend very little time with other people, but they're older too. which that would be a bit odd. Older men, you would think they would be, if they're on the right, they would be married, they would, have, a wife and kids and this, that, and the other. Holy crap, it's double. There's like two on each side of the street. This is money well spent, so in a Democratic enclave, just so you understand, to blow the fucking leaves around. Love it. Okay, so so you get this whole thing of like, oh yeah, well, these lonely guys, ha ha ha, and so then it becomes this thing of like, when I think of like the left and loneliness, I'm thinking old women, and that's not funny. Like, yeah, like I just think like, how not funny. Are you coming out of the garage? No, okay. And so there's not really a part of me that I think of like laughing at something like that. But I mean, maybe it's, yeah, I don't know. I just, it seems like a weird way of dancing, dancing after the victory. I don't know. It just seems unduly cruel. But then that's the thing. This is what then hit me, and it hit me all at once. Would the Israelis have stopped? If the Mossad had found a way to these men's hearts, but would the Israelis have stopped? Would there be any, would these men stopping what they were doing have actually helped them at all? So, when somebody reports like, oh, this demographic, they spend a lot of time alone, and everybody kind of laughs and giggles and is wailing, and they don't really realize the nature of such men, that I'm like, oh, okay, well, you do know now you are confirming to them that there is somebody out there who's taking actual glee in their suffering, where they never had, they probably have somewhere like a parent they call and they're like, I don't have any friends, and their parents like, oh, well, that's fucked up, and it's somebody. But then to have social media like, ha ha ha, you have no fucking friends, why do you think that's helping anyone? And then you, why do you think it's helping you? You've now made it that these guys know they have nobody on their side, except for people who know exactly the same feeling. That's danger. That's the thing, is I like, inadvertently, the way that people have now laughed at the lonely men online, they're putting themselves in danger by making these men realize the only thing that is going to help is if I find more guys like me and we get together. You are pushing them to that. And it's because you're making it where it's ha ha ha, too bad you're suffering. They didn't have that. They didn't think that before. They had no concept, no one knew they existed. That was the thing. No one knew they existed. Suddenly they have people actively laughing at like what they perceive of as these guys' misery, whether they're miserable or not. Another issue. Remember, not everyone's an extrovert, which is one of the big problems of today, is not everyone's an extrovert, but we're all demanded to be extroverts. And so when social media laughs at the lonely men who might just like it that way because they're not extroverts, they can't conceive of being social people. For them, this is like, wow, you guys are really mean. This is why I don't have anything to do with other people. Another grave error in just watching over the last month, multiple crimes, notably on women. One in particular, this whole thing that's come up about why aren't you protecting women from men with bricks? This is the kind of guy who he's not going to have anything to do. He's going to get out of the area as quickly as possible because people are hitting each other with bricks. And now he has confirmation of such. He now has confirmation. The last thing he should do is get involved in society because they laugh at him because he doesn't get pussy. Good work! Good work, you idiots! Great work. I freaking love it. I swear there's these moments where I'm just like, does anybody understand undue cruelty is cautioned against by the wise for a reason? Even I, at times, I'm like, I'll make videos, I'm like, no, this is just unduly cruel. You're just angry. You need to stop, And so I have to have my coffee and my walk so I can giggle and laugh at us, at humans, at our country, at the way we're handling things. But this is one that I'm just like, I'm just sitting back and I'm like, I think what you're trying to do is to make sure these fellows don't become in some way dangerous in the future, but you're doing every single thing that would make them isolate themselves more and become dangerous in the future. So, what are you trying to get? What are you trying to accomplish here? And, but maybe that's the thing. Maybe that I start to wonder if something about the way the Marxists and the left and the modernists I think it self-perpetuates. I kind of get this feeling that it's sort of is its own, it's like a plant with its own solar bulb in it, or something, or it grows in the dark or something, so you don't even need light. But yeah, what a miss on the side of the cultural left. What a major miss. You had this opportunity. You're trying to keep these people from voting for Trump. Isn't that one of the most important things? You don't want these men voting for Donald frickin' Trump. So what should you do? You should get them on your side. You're not getting them on your side. So you're going to get what you deserve.